All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to On the Stoa. My name is John, and on today's video, we're going to be talking about Chapter 2 of Seneca's On the Shortness of Life. Now, in Chapter 1, Seneca argued that people complain about life being too short when they themselves are the ones making it short. In Chapter 2, Seneca here is going to argue that people get distracted, thereby making life short, and then hence, as in Chapter 1, them complaining that life is too short. Now, Seneca argues in this chapter that there are things that people are distracted by. Usually he labels examples like greediness, workaholism, people focusing too much on others, but he writes many more. He writes specifically at the beginning of the chapter the following, quote, "But one man is gripped by insatiable greed, another by a laborious dedication to useless tasks. One man is soaked in wine, another sluggish with idleness. One man is worn out by political ambition, which is always at the mercy of the judgment of others. Another, through the hope of profit, is driven headlong over all lands and seas by the greed of trading. Some are tormented by a passion for army life, always intent of inflicting dangers on others or anxious about danger to themselves. Some are worn out by the self-imposed servitude of thankless attendance on the great. Many are occupied by either pursuing other people's money or complaining about their own. Many pursue no fixed goal, but are tossed about in ever-changing designs by a fickleness which is shifting and constant and never satisfied with itself. Some have no aims at all for their life's course, but death takes them unawares as the young languidly. So much so that I cannot doubt the truth of that oracular remark of the greatest of poets. It is a small part of life we really live." End quote. Now, Seneca also mentions later that in tandem with all these things, another thing is kind of similar to his point on how there's a self-imposed servitude of thankness, the thankfulness and gratitude on the great, that we focus too much on getting the attention of people we consider great, people that we might consider celebrities or the greats, if you will. But we don't put that energy back into ourselves. We don't put that attention and time back into the lives that we are living. We spend hours going to certain concerts. We spend hours looking up the drama on other people or on the celebrities, but we don't place that back onto ourselves. We don't invest that time back into our relationships, back into our family, back into the things that we consider growth and things that will help us live a better life. And a lot of the times it's usually for something else that's missing in our life. We can usually see this with excuses or reasons why people watch a lot of the reality TV dramas. They consider these things that because they are real life, and things that are happening to real events that are happening to real people, that they think that, oh, I can focus all this time in this drama because my life is too mundane. They feel like their life is too mundane, it's too boring, and so they have to outsource this want and to live through other people, live through the drama that is put on TV. And so they get addicted to this because they feel inadequate about their life in some form of fashion. And in connection to this, we also see this concept of how people can be envious of others' success, mainly because they themselves are not successful. They feel like that this other person doesn't deserve this success because that I myself am the one that deserves all this success. So we see people get envious in this kind of thing, and they spend so much time focusing on other people when then instead they can take all this time being envious, all this time living the drama, spicy energy in these TV shows, and they can put it back into themselves. They can put this want to be better and actually drive that into their passion for improvement, passion for growth, or passion for whatever they want to do for their dream to live a better and more successful life. So with this chapter, what is Seneca essentially asking us to do? He's asking us to pay attention to ourselves and to focus on what makes our life successful and meaningful. He's asking us to put aside all these vices, put aside all these things that are distracting us, because life, there is a limit to our life. And the more we decide to distract ourselves with these meaningless things, with outsourcing all of our energy to these things that do not improve us, the shorter life will be in terms of how we get to live it, our energy that we have, to where we become old and we look back with all this regret and we think like, oh, I should have spent more time doing this, I should have spent more time doing that, when Seneca is like, why be like that? Why do you really want to be old and reflect on this? You have the time now to focus this energy on things that truly matter, to focus this energy and to hone in all this energy and hone in all this passion for making your life a better place and making your life more virtuous and being a better person and all of that. So how do we start to pay attention to ourselves and to focus on what makes our lives more successful and more meaningful? The first thing we need to do is to define what is enough. What is enough for me in this life? Is it getting $10,000 a year? Is it getting $40,000? Is it having the biggest house? Is it having 5 kids? We have to figure out what is success to us. And as soon as we are able to do that, then we can start to kind of craft a goal plan, and we can start to craft a success plan that can help us reach those goals and reach that place to where once we get it, we can be like, okay, that's enough. I can chill now. And then when we get old, we can be like, I achieved everything I wanted to in this life. The next thing we have to do is we have to ask ourselves the question, can I remain virtuous in this pursuit of this goal? And once I get the reward, or once I achieve what I've essentially been working on, can I still remain virtuous? Can I still be a virtuous person? Because honestly, at least in my opinion, if reaching to $1 million requires you to deceive people, to manipulate people, to step on heads, to ruin other people's lives, then it's not worth it. It is not worth sacrificing your personal virtue, your personal ability to practice the virtues, your ability to be a moral and good person, to achieve something physical, something external that doesn't last. It's honestly what's inside that matters. And if you have to sacrifice that to achieve this goal, then achieving that goal probably isn't worth it. You might want to find something else. The final thing we have to do is to be aware that vices are around us, that vices are there, are present along our way, and these vices seek to distract us. Seneca writes about this aspect, and he says, quote, "Vices surround and assail men from every side, and do not allow them to rise again and lift their eyes to discern the truth, but keep them overwhelmed and rooted in their desires." Now, here I might slightly disagree in the sense that, I do think that people can overcome vices. I do think that people can heal. However, I do think that, kind of like an addiction, you will always have a predisposition to certain vices once you've climbed out of that vice hole, if you will. But in pursuit of this goal, in practicing wisdom, in practicing, the virtues of wisdom, of discernment and all of that, we're going to be able to avoid these vices, and we'll be able to remain disciplined to where even though we have something that seems enticing, we'll realize, in the short term, this looks good, but in the long term, it's just going to distract me. It's going to trap me. It's going to keep me down. And it's going to prevent me possibly permanently from reaching the goal that I want to achieve. And kind of stemming from the previous point, if I have to embrace a life of vice in order to achieve this goal, and I have to forego certain virtues, then again, it's not worth pursuing. I should probably find something else to pursue, something that will allow me to live a better life, be a good person, to be a successful person in that regard of being able to be an honorable person. But I want to know what you guys think, so let me know down in the comments. What do you think it takes to live a productive life, to live a successful life? What are things that you think you would have to give up in order to pursue a life of virtue as opposed to a life of vice, and to achieve the goals and the plans and the dreams that you have in your life? And that's going to be it for this video. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you want to learn more about the philosophy of Stoicism, the philosophy that Seneca taught and followed, then you should go check out my podcast on the Stoa. It's the same name of the channel, where you can learn more about the philosophy of Stoicism and how you can use it to live a more fruitful, virtuous, and meaningful life. I'll post the links to those, to the link to whatever audio platform that you use, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, or Google FM, or whatever. I'll put those in the description, as well as I'll be uploading some of those episodes onto the channel itself. So if you don't have any of those audio listening platforms, you can tune in about once a week and you'll be able to listen to those episodes here. Thank y'all again so much for watching. I'll see y'all in the next video. Take care of yourselves, be well, and stay focused.